The waiter places a black leather folder on the table in front of me, and my mother smiles brightly across the white tablecloth. "Happy anniversary to us," she says, raising her wine glass. "And thank you, sweetie, for treating us to such a lovely dinner." I stare at the folder. I haven't opened it yet, but I can feel the weight of it, both literal and metaphorical. Around me, Marcello's, the most expensive Italian restaurant in downtown Seattle, hums with quiet wealth. Crystal chandeliers, fresh flowers on every table, waiters in suits that probably cost more than my monthly rent. "I'm sorry," I say slowly. "Treating you?" Dad laughs, that hearty laugh he uses when he thinks something is obvious. "Well, of course, honey. You invited us to celebrate our anniversary. Naturally, we assumed you were picking up the check." I most definitely did not invite them. 3 weeks ago, Mom called and said, "Your father and I want to celebrate our 35th anniversary with you. We miss you. Let's have dinner." She suggested Marcello's. She made the reservation. She invited my brother Thomas and his wife Jennifer. I said yes because I haven't seen my parents in 4 months, and I'm still trying, always trying, to be the daughter they want me to be. "Mom," I say carefully, my hand still not touching the leather folder, "when you said you wanted to celebrate with me, I thought you meant celebrate together, not that I was hosting." "Oh, Alexandra." Mom waves her hand dismissively, her diamonds catching the light. "Don't be difficult. You're 28 years old with a good job. Surely you can afford to treat your parents to one nice dinner for their anniversary." I'm a social worker. I make $42,000 a year. I live in a studio apartment in a neighborhood that's politely described as up and coming. I drive a 12-year-old Honda Civic that makes alarming noises when I brake. I have $17,000 in student loans and a savings account that currently contains $832 because I just paid first and last month's rent on my new apartment. Across the table, my brother Thomas is pointedly studying his phone. His wife Jennifer looks uncomfortable, but says nothing. They both know what's coming. They've seen this movie before. With a feeling of impending doom, I open the leather folder. $1,720. I read it again, certain I'm seeing wrong. The numbers don't change. $1,720, plus an automatic 20% gratuity for parties of 6 or more, bring the total to $2,064. "This has to be a mistake," I say, my voice coming out higher than I intended. "What's wrong?" Mom asks, but there's something in her tone that tells me she knows exactly what's wrong. I look at the itemized receipt, and my stomach drops. 2 bottles of Opus 1 at $450 each. Wagyu beef, Alaskan king crab, foie gras appetizers, things I didn't order because I would never order them because I can't afford them. I ordered the cheapest pasta on the menu, $28, and tap water. "Mom, there's almost $2,000 on this bill. I can't afford this." "Don't be dramatic, Alexandra. You have a credit card." "Having a credit card doesn't mean I can afford to spend $2,000 on one dinner." My hands are shaking now. I don't have $2,000. I don't have anywhere close to $2,000. Dad sighs. That disappointed sigh I've heard my entire life. "If you couldn't afford it, you shouldn't have suggested such an expensive restaurant." "I didn't suggest it. Mom suggested it. Because we assumed you wanted to treat us somewhere nice. It's our 35th anniversary, Alexandra. We raised you, we supported you, we paid for your education. Is it really so much to ask that you treat us to one nice dinner?" "You didn't pay for my education. I have $17,000 in student loans because you said you couldn't afford to help me. But you paid for Thomas's entire college and bought him a car and gave him the down payment for his house." Thomas looks up from his phone, annoyed. "Here we go again. Can we not do this tonight?" "You paid for Thomas's wedding," I continue, something breaking loose inside me. $30,000 for his wedding. I know because Mom showed me the budget breakdown and talked about it for months. But when I got engaged, you told me you couldn't contribute anything and that James and I should just do something small. James was established in his career. You were still figuring things out. We were trying to teach you financial responsibility. James and I broke up 6 months later, partly because of the stress of trying to plan a wedding with no help while watching you throw money at Thomas and Jennifer like you have unlimited resources. But sure, you were teaching me responsibility. You're being ungrateful, Mom says, and now her voice is sharp. After everything we've done for you. I look around the table, at my parents, who are wearing designer clothes and just drank $900 worth of wine without blinking. At Thomas, who's wearing a watch that costs more than my car. At Jennifer, who won't meet my eyes. I'm leaving, I say, standing up. My chair scrapes against the floor, too loud in the elegant space. You can't just leave, Dad says, his voice rising. You invited us here. I didn't, and I'm not paying for this. My heart is pounding so hard, I can feel it in my throat. If you walk out of here, don't bother coming to Christmas, Mom says. And there it is. The threat that's always lurking underneath every interaction with my family. Comply or be excluded. I pick up my purse, pulling out 3 $20 bills, the only cash I have on me. I put them on the table. That covers my pasta and water, including tip. Alexandra Marie Thompson, if you walk out that door. I walk out the door. The November rain hits me as soon as I exit Marcello's. I didn't bring an umbrella because I was so anxious about dinner that I forgot to check the weather. My phone starts buzzing before I even reach my car. Thomas, Mom, Dad, Thomas again. I silence it. I sit in my Honda Civic in the parking garage, shaking, rain drumming on the roof, watching my phone light up with incoming calls and texts that I can't bring myself to read yet. My mascara is running, and I didn't even realize I was crying.
What just happened? Did I actually just walk out on my parents' anniversary dinner? Did I just blow up my family over a restaurant bill? Except, it's not really about the bill. It's about 35 years of this exact dynamic. It's about always being the afterthought, always being expected to be grateful for scraps while Thomas gets the feast. It's about being 28 years old and still desperately trying to win approval that never comes. My phone rings again. Not family this time. My best friend, Kira. Are you okay? She asks as soon as I answer. I had this weird feeling that you needed me. I just walked out on my parents' anniversary dinner. They stuck me with a $2,000 bill. They what? I tell her everything. The setup, the assumption, the itemized receipt, the comparisons to Thomas, the threat about Christmas. Come to my place, Kira says immediately. Right now, don't go home alone. Kira lives in a tiny apartment above a coffee shop in Capitol Hill. When I arrive, soaked from the rain, she already has wine poured and her weighted blanket ready. Her girlfriend Maya takes one look at me and orders Thai food without asking what I want. Let me see the texts, Kira says. I hand over my phone. There are 43 messages now. Kira starts reading them out loud. From your mom. I cannot believe you embarrassed us like that. The waiter had to split the bill awkwardly between us and Thomas. Your father and I are humiliated. Wait, Maya interrupts. They actually stayed and finished dinner after you left? Apparently. Kira continues. From Thomas. You're being ridiculous. It's just money. Why do you always have to make everything a drama? From your dad. We are very disappointed in your behavior tonight. When you're ready to apologize, we'll be waiting. Notice, I say, hugging the weighted blanket,
that none of those messages acknowledge what they did. It's all about my reaction, not their actions. Classic narcissistic family dynamic, Kira says. She should know. She's a therapist who specializes in family trauma, which is partly why we're friends. She gets it in a way most people don't. Over pad thai and spring rolls, we dissect the entire evening. Maya, who's a corporate lawyer with absolutely no patience for manipulation, is furiously taking notes on her phone. This is financial abuse. They deliberately misled you about the nature of the dinner, ordered expensive items they knew you couldn't afford, and then tried to guilt and threaten you into paying. That's literally a con. They're my parents, I say, but the words feel weak even as I say them. Doesn't matter, Maya replies. Legally, they probably committed theft of services if they went in planning to stick you with the bill. Morally, they're terrible people. Familially, they're abusive. End of story. Kira is quieter, more therapeutic in her approach. Alex, talk to me about the pattern. This isn't the first time something like this has happened, right? And so I do. I tell them about my college graduation, when my parents promised to take me to dinner and then forgot. About the time I was in the hospital with appendicitis and they didn't visit because Thomas's son had a soccer game. About every birthday where Thomas got lavish parties and I got a card with $50. About the constant comparisons, the endless disappointments, the way I've spent nearly 30 decades trying to earn love that's apparently reserved exclusively for my brother. What do you want to do? Kira asks when I'm done, when I've cried through 2 glasses of wine and most of a box of tissues. I don't know. Part of me wants to apologize, to fix it, to make it okay again. And the other part? The other part wants to send them an invoice for all the therapy I'm going to need to recover from being their daughter. Maya laughs. I like that part. Listen to that part. I don't respond to any of the messages that night or the next day. By day 3, the texts have shifted from angry to wounded. Mom, I don't understand why you're shutting us out. We just wanted to celebrate our anniversary with our daughter. Dad, your mother is very upset. This silent treatment is cruel. Thomas, can you just apologize so we can all move on? You're making Thanksgiving really awkward. On day 4, my Aunt Carol calls, Mom's younger sister, the one I've always actually liked. I heard about the dinner. She says no preamble. Let me guess, Mom told you I ruined their anniversary by being selfish and ungrateful. She told me you walked on a bill. I asked how much the bill was. She eventually admitted it was over $2,000. Aunt Carol pauses. Alex, honey, you're a social worker. How exactly did she think you were going to pay for that? I don't think she cared. Probably not. Your mother has some very selective awareness about money, especially when it comes to you versus Thomas. Another pause. Can I tell you something I probably shouldn't? Please. When you were applying to colleges, your parents had the money to help you. They had close to $50,000 in a college fund your grandmother set up. They gave it all to Thomas and told you there was nothing. Your grandmother was furious, but by the time she found out, it was too late to do anything about it. I stopped breathing for a moment. What? I'm telling you this not to hurt you more, but so you understand that the pattern you're seeing isn't in your head. It's real. It's always been real. And it's not about you being not good enough or not deserving. It's about them having a favorite child and never pretending otherwise, except when they want something from you. We talk for another hour.
Aunt Carol tells me more stories I've never heard. How my parents complained constantly about paying for anything for me while bragging about how much they spent on Thomas. How they told family members I was difficult when really I was just asking for the same treatment Thomas got. How Grandma Thompson tried to intervene multiple times before she died, but my parents dismissed her as meddling. "What should I do?" I asked finally. "What do you want to do?" "I want them to see me, really see me, not as the disappointing daughter or the backup child or the one they can take advantage of, just as me, as someone who deserves basic respect and fairness." "Do you think that's possible?" Aunt Carol asks gently. "No," I admit, "not really." "Then you have your answer. The question isn't what they need to do, it's what you need to do to protect yourself and build a life that doesn't revolve around earning love from people who aren't capable of giving it fairly." After we hang up, I sit with that for a long time. Build a life that doesn't revolve around earning love from people who aren't capable of giving it fairly.
What would that even look like? On day 7, exactly 1 week after the dinner, I write an email. Not a text, not a call, but a formal email that I draft and redraft 17 times with Kira's help. Dear Mom and Dad, I've spent the last week thinking about what happened at Marcello's. I've also spent that time thinking about the larger pattern that dinner represents. I'm not apologizing for leaving. I was put in an impossible situation where I was expected to pay for an expensive dinner I didn't plan, couldn't afford, and wasn't told I would be paying for until the bill arrived. That was unfair, and I won't apologize for refusing to comply with an unfair expectation. What I do want to say is this. I've spent most of my life trying to earn equal treatment and recognition in this family. I've watched Thomas receive financial support, emotional support, and celebratory attention that I've never received, despite achieving my own milestones and working hard in a career I'm proud of. I've made excuses for the disparity. I've told myself it's because he's older or more established, or because you see him as more successful. But the truth is simpler and harder. You have a favorite child, and it's not me. I can't keep participating in a dynamic where I'm expected to be grateful for less while giving more. I can't keep showing up to family events where I'm treated as an afterthought or a source of free labor or money. I can't keep hoping that someday if I just try hard enough or accomplish enough or comply enough, you'll finally see me the way you see Thomas. I'm going to take some time and space to figure out what a healthy relationship with you might look like, if one is possible. I'm not cutting you off forever. I'm setting a boundary. I'll be skipping Thanksgiving this year. I need that time for myself. I love you both. I hope someday we can have a relationship based on mutual respect rather than obligation and disappointment. Alex. I read it one final time, hovering over the send button. This feels huge. This feels like crossing a line I can't uncross. Send it, Kira says, reading over my shoulder. You deserve to set boundaries. You deserve to protect yourself. I send it. The response comes in less than 10 minutes. From Dad. This is extremely hurtful and unfair. We have always treated you and your brother equally. If you can't see that, then you're choosing to be a victim. We'll respect your need for space, but don't expect us to wait around forever for you to grow up and stop playing the martyr. I show it to Kira. She reads it twice. You see what he did there, right? You set a boundary, and he immediately made himself the victim and accused you of playing victim. Classic Darvo. Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. I expected it, but it still hurts. Of course it hurts. They're your parents. You wanted them to hear you, to validate your experience, to maybe apologize, or at least acknowledge the imbalance. Instead, they denied your reality and attacked your character. That's painful even when you expect it. Mom's response comes an hour later. It's longer, more emotional, full of examples of times she sacrificed for me. every example is either something she also did for Thomas or something I don't actually remember happening. She ends with, "I'm heartbroken that you see our family this way. I thought I raised you better than this." Thomas doesn't email. He texts, "You've really hurt Mom and Dad. I hope you're happy." I'm not happy. I'm exhausted and sad and relieved and terrified all at once. But I'm also, for the first time in my adult life, not trying to fix it, not apologizing, not bending myself into shapes to make them comfortable. Thanksgiving approaches. My phone is quieter than it's ever been. No calls, no texts, no guilt trips about family dinner. Thomas posts photos on Instagram of the family gathering. Mom and Dad smiling, Thomas and Jennifer and their kids, the perfectly set table, the golden turkey. I'm not in any of the photos, but I'm definitely the ghost at that table, the absence everyone's probably discussing in disapproving tones. I spend Thanksgiving with Kira, Maya, and 6 of their friends. We do Friendsgiving at someone's apartment, everyone bringing random dishes that don't quite go together. There's a vegan lasagna next to traditional stuffing, next to Thai curry, next to someone's experimental dessert that's either genius or disaster. We can't quite decide. It's chaotic and imperfect and the best Thanksgiving I've had in years. "How are you doing?" Kira asks when we're doing dishes, the party still going on in the living room. I feel guilty, I admit. Like I should be at the family thing. Like I'm being selfish. You're not being selfish. You're being self-protective. There's a difference. Then why does it feel so bad? Because they trained you to feel bad when you prioritize yourself. That's what happens in families with this kind of dynamic. Your guilt is their programming, not your actual moral compass. I let that sink in, hands in soapy water, watching through the doorway, as Maya tells some animated story that has everyone laughing. I think I need therapy. Real therapy, not just talking to you, though you're amazing. I think that's a great idea, Kira agrees. I can give you some referrals tomorrow. People who specialize in family estrangement and complex PTSD. Is it PTSD if nothing really traumatic happened? Like they didn't hit me or abandon me or anything objectively terrible. Emotional neglect and systematic favoritism are traumatic, Alex. Just because you weren't physically abused doesn't mean you weren't hurt. Your pain is valid even if it doesn't look like the kind of trauma people make TV shows about. That night, lying in my own bed in my tiny studio apartment, I make a list on my phone. Things I want to do without considering my family's opinions. It starts small. Take that pottery class I've been interested in. Say yes to the date with the woman from the coffee shop who keeps smiling at me. Apply for the job in Portland. That pays better but would mean moving away. Stop sending birthday cards to people who don't remember mine. Learn to say no without explaining why. The list grows. I fall asleep adding to it, feeling something that might be hope or might just be the absence of constant disappointment. Either way, it's better than what I had before. I start therapy 2 weeks after Thanksgiving. Dr. Sarah Chen has kind eyes and an office that smells like lavender. She doesn't waste time with pleasantries. She says in our first session, "Tell me why you're here." I tell her about the dinner, the bill, the lifetime of being second choice. She listens without interrupting, taking occasional notes, her expression neutral but focused. "What do you want from therapy?" she asks when I'm done. I want to stop feeling guilty for setting boundaries. I want to understand why I kept going back to people who hurt me. I want to figure out how to have a life that doesn't revolve around earning approval I'm never going to get. Those are good goals, Dr. Chen says. Achievable goals. But I need you to understand something upfront. This process is going to hurt before it helps. You're going to examine wounds you've been ignoring for decades. You're going to feel worse before you feel better. Are you ready for that? I think about the alternative, going back to the family dinners where I'm invisible, the holidays where I'm an afterthought, the constant comparison to Thomas and the endless disappointment in my parents' eyes, the feeling of being perpetually not quite good enough. I'm ready, I say. The work is harder than I expected. Dr. Chen has me write out every memory of differential treatment. Thomas got a car at 16. I didn't. Thomas got help with his down payment. I got a lecture about financial responsibility. Thomas's accomplishments were celebrated. Mine were acknowledged with a phone call if I was lucky. The list fills 17 pages. Look at this objectively, Dr. Chen says in session 4, holding up my handwritten pages. If a friend came to you with this list, what would you tell them? I'd tell them their parents have a clear favorite and it's not them. So why is it different when it's you? Because they're my parents. Because I keep thinking if I just try harder, be better, accomplish more, they'll finally see me the way they see Thomas. And how's that working for you? I laugh, but it's not a happy sound. It's not. Alexandra, I'm going to tell you something that might be difficult to hear. Your parents aren't going to change, not in the way you want them to. They've had nearly 30 years to treat you equitably, and they've consistently chosen not to. The question isn't how to make them change. The question is how you're going to build a life that doesn't require their validation to feel whole. Christmas approaches, and with it comes the inevitable pressure. Mom sends a card. Not a text, not a call, but an actual Hallmark card with a handwritten note inside. Alexandra, we miss you. The holidays aren't the same without you. Whatever happened at dinner, surely we can move past it. Family is forever. Please come to Christmas. Love, Mom. There's no acknowledgement of what actually happened. No apology, no accountability, just guilt and expectation. I bring the card to therapy. What do you notice about this message? Dr. Chen asks. There's no apology, no accountability, just guilt and expectation. What else? I read it again. She says family is forever, but she's the one who threatened to exclude me if I didn't comply with their demands. She's the one who made family conditional. Exactly. This is what manipulation looks like when it's wrapped in pretty paper and loving language. The message is, your feelings don't matter, the facts don't matter, just come back and play your role in the family dynamic. What do I do? What do you want to do? I sit with that question. What do I want? Not what will make them happy, not what will keep the peace, not what will prove I'm a good daughter. What do I actually want? I want to skip Christmas. I want to spend it doing something that makes me happy, with people who actually see me and value me. I want to stop setting myself on fire to keep them warm. Then do that. I send a text, not an email, not a call, just a simple text. Thank you for the card. I'm spending Christmas with friends this year. I hope you have a lovely holiday. The response is immediate and exactly what I expect. Mom, this is so hurtful after everything we've done for you. Dad, your mother is crying. I hope you're satisfied. Thomas, you're tearing this family apart over nothing. Grow up. I show the text to Kira over coffee. She reads them and shakes her head. The fact that they think this is about nothing tells you everything you need to know. A $2,000 ambush bill is nothing. A lifetime of differential treatment is nothing. Your feelings are nothing. Only their feelings matter. I know intellectually, but emotionally, I still feel like the bad guy. That's the programming. That's years of being told that your needs are selfish and your boundaries are cruel. It takes time to reprogram that. Christmas morning, I wake up in my studio apartment alone. For about 30 seconds, I feel guilty and sad. Then I remember what I'm not doing today. I'm not sitting at my parents' table watching them fawn over Thomas's children while barely acknowledging me. I'm not listening to passive-aggressive comments about my career or my life choices. I'm not pretending that everything is fine when it's very much not fine. Instead, I'm meeting Kira and Maya and a group of friends for brunch. Then we're volunteering at a homeless shelter, serving Christmas dinner to people who actually appreciate the gesture. Then we're having a movie marathon and eating too much takeout Chinese food. It's the best Christmas I've had in 10 years. In January, I get a call from Aunt Carol. "I wanted to check on you. Your mother mentioned you skipped Christmas." I'm sure she had a lot to say about that. She did. Most of it was about how ungrateful and selfish you're being. I let her talk for 20 minutes, then I told her exactly what I think about parents who steal college funds and stick their kids with restaurant bills. How did that go? About as well as you'd expect. She hung up on me. "But Alex, I want you to know something. You're not crazy. You're not overreacting. What they've done to you is wrong, and you have every right to protect yourself." After we hang up, I cry. Not sad tears, but relieved tears. Validated tears. Someone from my actual family sees it, acknowledges it, believes me. In February, I apply for the job in Portland. It's a senior social worker position at a nonprofit that does incredible work with homeless youth. It pays $58,000 a year, which is more money than I've ever made. It's also 3 hours away from Seattle, 3 hours away from my parents, 3 hours away from the constant pull to fix things that can't be fixed. I get a call 2 weeks later. They want to interview me. I drive down to Portland on a Saturday, meet with the team, tour the facility, and feel something I haven't felt in years. Excitement, possibility, hope. They offer me the job at the end of the interview. I accept it on the spot. The logistics of moving happen quickly. I give notice at my current job. I find a 1-bedroom apartment in Portland's Selwood neighborhood with hardwood floors and big windows. I hire movers for the first time in my life because I can actually afford it now. I'm leaving Seattle. I'm leaving the city where my parents can drop by unannounced, where I run into family friends who ask uncomfortable questions, where every street corner holds memories of feeling not quite good enough. I don't tell my parents I'm moving until a week before. Another text, simple and direct. "I wanted to let you know I've accepted a job in Portland. I'm moving next Saturday. I hope you're both well." The response comes from Thomas, not my parents. "Portland? You're moving to Portland without even discussing it with the family? This is insane, Alex. What are you running from?" I don't respond. There's no point. They wouldn't understand. Or they'd pretend not to understand, which amounts to the same thing. Moving day is rainy and chaotic. Kira and Maya help me pack the truck along with 3 other friends from work. We make a party of it, ordering pizza and laughing as we try to fit my terrible IKEA furniture through doorways. No one from my family comes. I didn't expect them to, but there's still a small part of me that hoped. "You good?" Kira asks as we load the last box. I'm terrified and excited and sad and relieved all at once. That sounds about right for a major life change combined with family estrangement. She hugs me hard. "You're doing the right thing. You're choosing yourself. That's brave." Portland feels like a fresh start. The new job is challenging but fulfilling. My coworkers are passionate and kind. My apartment feels like mine, in a way my Seattle studio never did. I adopt a cat from the shelter, a scraggly orange tabby I name Mingo, who's absolutely convinced he's a dog. I make new friends. I join a pottery class and discover I'm terrible at it, but love it anyway. I go on dates with the barista from the coffee shop near my apartment. Her name is Sophie. She has a laugh that makes me smile, and she doesn't know anything about my family drama except what I choose to tell her. For the first time in my adult life, I'm building something that's entirely mine, not in reaction to my parents, not trying to prove anything to Thomas, not earning anyone's approval, just living. In April, 3 months after I moved to Portland, I get an email from Mom. It's long and rambling, full of wounded language about how I've abandoned the family and broken their hearts.
But buried in the middle is something interesting. Your father was diagnosed with diabetes last month. He's having trouble adjusting to the dietary changes. It would mean a lot if you called him. I bring it to therapy. Dr. Chen and I have been working together for 6 months now, and I've made more progress than I thought possible. She asks, "What's your gut reaction?" My gut says this is another manipulation, that if I call, they'll use his health as leverage to guilt me back into the family dynamic, that nothing has actually changed except they've found a new angle. Trust that gut. It's gotten smarter. I don't call. Instead, I send a card. A simple, thinking of you, hope you're managing the diagnosis well. Card with no return address, mailed from Portland. It's compassion without compliance, care without capitulation. The response is predictable. Mom calls it cold and heartless. Thomas posts something vague about family loyalty and disappointment. I block them both on social media and feel lighter immediately. In June, Aunt Carol comes to visit Portland. We spend the weekend exploring the city, drinking too much coffee, and having the kind of deep conversations I never had with my own mother. Your parents are telling everyone you've cut them off for no reason, that you're going through some kind of mental health crisis and refusing their help. Of course they are. They can't tell people the truth because that would require admitting they treated me poorly. It's easier to make me the villain. How are you handling it? Honestly, better than I expected. I've built a life here that I love. I have work that matters, friends who actually care about me, a relationship that's healthy and supportive. My parents' narrative about me doesn't change my reality. Aunt Carol smiles. You sound different, stronger, clearer. I feel different. It turns out when you stop expending all your energy trying to earn love from people who aren't capable of giving it, you have a lot more energy for everything else. By April, I've been in Portland for 6 months. I get a promotion at work. Sophie and I move in together. Mango learns to tolerate her dog. I'm making more money than both my parents combined made when I was growing up, and I'm doing work that genuinely helps people. I realized with some surprise that I'm happy. Not performing happiness, not pretending to be happy, not waiting to be happy once I achieve the next thing. Actually, genuinely happy with my life as it is. That's when my parents show up. They don't call first, they just appear at my apartment on a Saturday morning in September, nearly a year after the anniversary dinner. I open the door in my pajamas, coffee in hand, and there they are. Looking older than I remember, looking uncertain. We need to talk, Dad says. How did you get my address? Thomas found it online. Can we come in? Every instinct screams no, but I'm also curious. What could possibly have motivated them to drive 3 hours without warning? You have 15 minutes, I say, not moving from the doorway. We stand in my living room. They sit awkwardly on my couch. Mango hisses at them and runs into the bedroom. Smart cat. We've been talking, Mom starts, about the dinner, about everything. We think maybe we didn't handle things well. You think? Don't be sarcastic, Alexandra. We're trying here. Trying what, exactly? You ambushed me at my home without calling. You still haven't actually apologized for anything, so what are you trying to do? Dad clears his throat. We want you to come back, to be part of the family again. Thomas is having another baby. Your mother wants her daughter there. And there it is. They don't want to make amends. They want me to resume my role in the family dynamic, the compliant daughter who shows up and plays nice and doesn't cause problems. No, I say simply. No? Mom's voice rises. Just like that? No?
Just like that?
You drove 3 hours to ask me to come back to a family dynamic where I'm treated as less than, where my feelings don't matter, where I'm expected to be grateful for scraps? The answer is no. We raised you, Dad says, and his voice has that edge I remember from childhood. We gave you everything. You gave Thomas everything. You gave me the leftovers and told me to be grateful. There's a difference. We treated you both equally. Stop. I cut him off. Don't lie to me. Not now. Not after everything. You stole my college fund to give to Thomas. You paid for his wedding and told me you couldn't help with mine. You've consistently prioritized his needs, his family, his life over mine. Those are facts, not feelings. Mom starts crying. It's the same crying she's done my whole life when confronted with uncomfortable truths. The crying that's meant to make me feel guilty and back down. It doesn't work anymore. I need you to leave, I say quietly. I've built a good life here, a healthy life. I'm not coming back to a situation that required me to make myself smaller so you could be comfortable. If we leave now, that's it. Don't expect us to keep trying. I don't expect anything from you anymore. That's the point. They leave. Mom crying, Dad angry, both of them baffled that their daughter won't just comply like she used to. I close the door behind them and stand there for a long moment, waiting to feel guilty or sad or regretful. Instead, I feel relieved. Sophie comes out of the bedroom, where she'd been hiding with headphones on. You okay? Yeah, I say, and I mean it. I really am. That night, I write in the journal Dr. Chen suggested I keep. I write about the visit, about the clarity I felt, about the relief of not backing down. I write about the life I've built here and how different it is from the life I thought I was supposed to want. And then I write something that surprises me. I forgive them, not because they've earned it or because they've changed, but because carrying anger and resentment was taking up space I'd rather use for other things. I forgive them for being limited people who couldn't give me what I needed. And I forgive myself for taking so long to stop asking them for it. In October, exactly a year after the anniversary dinner, I'm having dinner with friends at a nice restaurant in Portland. Not Marcello's level expensive, but nice. We're celebrating my promotion to program director. When the bill comes, everyone reaches for their wallets. We split it evenly, discussing percentages and who had extra drinks, laughing about someone's complicated coffee order. It's easy and fair and uncomplicated. Remember that dinner last year? Kira says. The one with your parents? The $2,000 ambush? Hard to forget. Look at you now. New job, new city, new life. That disaster was the best thing that ever happened to you. She's right. That nightmare dinner was the catalyst I needed, the final straw that broke through decades of conditioning and people-pleasing. The moment I finally chose myself. My phone buzzes. A text from Aunt Carol. Thomas had his baby. A girl. Your parents are over the moon. They asked if they thought you'd want to know. I look at the message for a long moment. A year ago, this would have hurt. The reminder that I'm not part of those celebrations, not included in those moments. Now I feel nothing but a mild curiosity and a genuine hope that the baby is healthy. I text back, I hope everyone is healthy and happy. Thanks for letting me know. And then I put my phone away and return to my dinner, my friends, my life. The life I chose, the life I built, the life where I'm not an afterthought or a disappointment or a source of free labor, where I'm just me, and that's enough. Sophie reaches over and squeezes my hand under the table. Kira is telling some ridiculous story that has everyone laughing. My pasta is delicious. The wine is good, but not $450 good. The bill, when it comes, will be reasonable and fairly split. This is what family dinners should feel like. Chosen family. People who see you and value you and would never dream of taking advantage of you. I think about that night at Marcello's. standing in the rain outside the restaurant, shaking and crying and convinced I'd just ruined everything. I had no idea I was actually saving everything, saving myself. Sometimes the worst moments crack you open so the light can get in. Sometimes walking away is the bravest thing you can do. Sometimes the family you build matters more than the family you were born into. I raise my glass. To new beginnings, I say. To chosen family, Kara adds. To being brave enough to choose yourself, Sophie says. We clink glasses and I taste freedom. It's delicious.